Ladies and gentlemen, we live in an age where kindness is praised as the highest virtue, the golden rule of all morality. Be kind, they say, treat everyone gently. But have we ever paused to ask, is kindness always good? Does kindness always help? The truth is, kindness can be cowardice, kindness can be laziness, kindness, if wielded without wisdom, can even be cruelty in disguise. There is a type of kindness that refuses to correct a friend because we do not want to hurt their feelings. It is the kindness of silence when truth is needed. It is the kindness that watches a man drink himself to death but says nothing because it's his choice. This is not kindness. This is fear wrapped in sweet words. And there is another kind of kindness, softer but equally treacherous. It is the kindness that refuses to challenge, to sharpen, to strengthen. It is the kindness that gives a man what he wants instead of what he needs. The kindness of the parent who spoils a child, the leader who refuses to demand excellence, the friend who encourages weakness instead of growth. This kindness does not love. It betrays. Then there is the kindness that is not real kindness at all, but mere approval-seeking. We flatter, we nod, we accommodate, not because we love, but because we long to be loved. This kindness is selfishness in disguise. It does not serve others, it enslaves us. True kindness is not soft, it does not merely make people comfortable, it makes them better. It wounds so that it may heal, it rebukes so that it may restore. It denies momentary pleasure for the sake of eternal good. And above all, it has the courage to be called unkind. So stop being kind to everyone, if by kindness you mean flattery, cowardice, or mere politeness. Instead, love them enough to be strong, love them enough to tell the truth, love them enough to be, if necessary, unkind, because real love is not always kind, but it is always good. Kindness is often seen as an unquestionable good, a virtue to be upheld in all situations. We are told from childhood to be kind to everyone, to be gentle, to avoid hurting others. The world celebrates kindness as the highest moral standard, as if it is never wrong, never misplaced. But the truth is, kindness is not always good. It is not always helpful, it is not always right. Kindness, when divorced from wisdom, can lead to weakness, destruction, and even cruelty in disguise. There is a kind of kindness that is merely avoidance of discomfort. A friend is on a destructive path, making foolish decisions, wasting their potential, harming themselves, and yet we say nothing. We watch, we nod, we smile. Why? Because we do not want to hurt their feelings. We do not want to make them uncomfortable. We tell ourselves that it is kindness to let them be, to allow them to make their own choices, to avoid conflict. But this is not kindness at all. It is fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of being disliked, fear of bearing the responsibility that comes with truth. True kindness would intervene, even at the cost of a moment's pain. True kindness would say the hard words, risk offense, and bear the burden of being seen as unkind for the sake of a greater good. Then there is the kindness that spoils and indulges. It is the kindness of the parent who gives a child everything they want, never saying no, never demanding discipline or effort. It is the kindness of the leader who lowers standards so that no one feels bad about failing. It is the kindness of the friend who enables weakness instead of encouraging strength. On the surface, this kind of kindness feels warm and generous. It feels like love. But in reality, it is selfishness masquerading as compassion. It is the easy way, the path of least resistance. It does not seek the best for the other person, it seeks comfort for them and for itself. And in the end, it leads not to growth, but to stagnation, entitlement, and ultimately suffering. Worse still is the kindness that is not kindness at all, but mere flattery. This is the kindness of those who never challenge, never correct, never dare to oppose. It is the kindness of those who agree simply because they wish to be liked. This is a transactional kindness, given not out of love but out of self-interest. It seeks approval, validation, and acceptance. It avoids discomfort not for the sake of others, but for the sake of its own security. It is not kindness, it is cowardice. Real kindness is not simply about making people feel good. It is about doing good for them, even when it is difficult. It is about love that is willing to be misunderstood, to be rejected, even to be called unkind, because sometimes what a person needs most is not comfort, but truth. And truth, though it may wound for a moment, is the only thing that can truly heal. Silence is often mistaken for kindness. We hold our tongues, bite back our words, and tell ourselves that we are doing the right thing by not speaking. We do not want to offend, do not want to create tension, do not want to risk damaging a relationship, so we remain silent. We watch as a friend makes foolish choices, as a loved one drifts into harmful habits, as a colleague makes a mistake that will cost them dearly. We tell ourselves that it is not our place to interfere, that they will figure it out, that they would not want to hear our advice anyway. We believe we are being kind by not upsetting them. But this is not kindness. It is neglect wrapped in politeness, cowardice disguised as courtesy. True kindness does not shrink back from discomfort. It does not avoid difficult conversations simply to keep the peace. To be silent when words are needed is not an act of love, but an act of selfishness. It spares us the discomfort of confrontation, but does nothing to help the other person. It allows small errors to grow into great failures. It allows minor faults to turn into major weaknesses. It allows lies to take root where truth should have been planted. And worst of all, it allows those we care about to walk into suffering when we might have warned them. A friend who never corrects is not a true friend. A leader who never challenges is not a true leader. A parent who never disciplines is not a true parent. Love demands more than silence. It demands action, truth, and sometimes even words that wound. There is a difference between hurting and harming. A surgeon's knife hurts, but it heals. An unchecked disease does not hurt at first, but it destroys. Words that are spoken in love, even when they sting, can heal, restore, and strengthen. Silence, when it allows harm to go unchallenged, does not heal, it destroys. Silence is also a form of approval. When we say nothing in the face of wrongdoing, we communicate that we see no problem with it. When we do not speak up for what is right, we let wrong prevail. Evil does not require loud supporters. It only requires silent onlookers. Injustice grows not because it is cheered, but because it is ignored. Lies spread not because everyone believes them, but because those who know the truth refuse to speak. There is a time for patience, a time for listening, a time for weighing our words carefully. But there is also a time for boldness, a time for courage, a time for speaking even when our voices shake. We are not kind when we withhold truth out of fear. We are not kind when we choose comfort over honesty. We are not kind when we allow those we love to wander into ruin simply because we did not want to upset them. Kindness does not always sound gentle. Sometimes kindness must sound like a warning, a rebuke, even a wake-up call. It is not always easy to say the hard thing, but it is far crueler to say nothing at all. Comfort feels like love. It is warm, reassuring, and easy. It does not ask much of us, does not challenge us, does not require any great effort. We equate comfort with care, assuming that to shield someone from discomfort is to love them well. We soften our words to avoid causing pain. We lower our expectations to keep others from struggling, and we step in to remove difficulties before they become too burdensome. We believe that love means making life easier for those we care about. But comfort, when placed above truth, discipline, and growth, is not love at all. It is a counterfeit, a weak imitation that soothes for the moment but fails in the long run. Love does not always seek to make life easier. It seeks to make life better. And often the path to what is better is difficult. A teacher who truly loves their students will not give them easy lessons to spare them frustration, but will push them to learn, to struggle, and to grow. A parent who loves their child will not indulge every whim or remove every obstacle, but will teach them discipline, resilience, and strength. A friend who truly cares will not simply offer comfort in times of failure, but will encourage, challenge, and even correct when necessary. Love is not about providing endless ease. It is about desiring the highest good for another, even when that good comes through hardship. There is a danger in making comfort the highest priority. It weakens those it claims to protect. A life without struggle produces people without strength. If we remove every difficulty, soften every blow, and shield others from anything that might cause them distress, we are not loving them, we are crippling them. Strength is built in adversity, wisdom is forged through challenges, and character is shaped by hardship. To spare someone from all discomfort is to rob them of the opportunity to grow into who they were meant to be. What feels like love in the moment may turn out to be neglect in disguise. Comfort can also be deceptive. It can lull us into complacency, allowing us to settle for less than we are capable of. If no one challenges us, if no one pushes us beyond what is easy, we remain stagnant. We stay where we are, comfortable but unfulfilled, safe but untested. Love does not leave us where we are. It calls us to more, to better, to something greater, and that calling is often uncomfortable. Real love is willing to be misunderstood. It is willing to be rejected. It is willing to hurt for the sake of healing. It does not withhold necessary struggle, nor does it shrink back from necessary truth. It is not content with mere comfort, but seeks the good, the true, and the best. Those who truly love us will not always make us feel comfortable, but they will make us stronger, wiser, and better. Approval-seeking wears the mask of kindness. It looks like generosity, patience, and selflessness, but at its core it is deeply selfish. It is not driven by genuine concern for others, but by a hunger to be liked, accepted, and validated. When a person seeks approval above all else, their so-called kindness is not about doing what is best for others. It is about protecting themselves from rejection. They avoid difficult conversations not because they care, but because they do not want to feel uncomfortable. They say yes when they should say no, not because they wish to help, but because they cannot bear the thought of displeasing someone. Their outward gentleness is not rooted in love but in fear. There is a difference between being kind and being agreeable. True kindness seeks the good of others even at personal cost. It tells the truth when truth is needed. It sets boundaries when boundaries are necessary. It does not trade integrity for the fleeting comfort of approval. Approval-seeking, on the other hand, is a form of self-preservation. It bends and twists, changing shape to fit whatever pleases the crowd. It lacks the courage to be honest when honesty might lead to disapproval. It withholds correction when correction is required. It flatters instead of instructs, placates instead of challenges, and avoids conflict even when conflict is necessary. This form of selfishness often disguises itself so well that even the person engaging in it does not recognize it. They believe they are simply being good, easygoing, and accommodating. They tell themselves they are fostering peace when in reality they are fostering weakness in themselves and in others. They think they are being loving when they are in fact being dishonest. If approval-seeking were truly selfless, it would not demand a return, but it does. It requires constant reassurance, validation, and acceptance. The moment approval is withdrawn, resentment creeps in. The so-called kindness disappears, replaced by frustration at being underappreciated. This is not selflessness, it is a transaction. The approval seeker gives, but only to receive. This kind of behavior weakens relationships rather than strengthening them. When approval is prioritized over authenticity, relationships become fragile and insincere. If a person is only kind so long as they are liked in return, their kindness is conditional, and conditional kindness is no kindness at all. True love, true friendship, and true integrity are willing to withstand the discomfort of disapproval when necessary. They do not demand constant affirmation to continue existing. They are built on something far sturdier than the shifting opinions of others. Seeking approval at all costs may feel safe in the moment, but it ultimately leads to emptiness. It traps a person in a cycle of endless performance, always chasing the next moment of validation, never standing firm on any real conviction. There is a profound freedom in letting go of the need to be liked, in choosing what is right over what is popular, and in valuing truth over applause. Those who are willing to be misunderstood, to be disliked for the sake of integrity, and to love others enough to risk their approval, those are the ones who are truly selfless. Real kindness is not for the faint of heart. It is not the easy smile, the polite nod, or the effortless pleasantries that make everyone feel good in the moment. It is not about avoiding conflict or keeping the peace at any cost. Real kindness, the kind that truly serves others, requires courage. It demands a willingness to be uncomfortable, to take risks, and to act even when it would be easier to stay silent or do nothing at all. There is a kind of false kindness that seeks only to be liked. It flatters, appeases, and avoids confrontation under the guise of being considerate. It stays quiet when someone is making a mistake, allowing them to walk into disaster rather than risk upsetting them. It tolerates harmful behavior in the name of keeping relationships intact. It prioritizes short-term comfort over long-term good. But this is not kindness. It is fear dressed as virtue. True kindness does not always make people feel good. Sometimes it makes them uncomfortable. Sometimes it offends. Sometimes it hurts. But it does so for the sake of something greater: growth, truth, and real love. To be truly kind, one must be willing to be disliked. A friend who warns another about their destructive behavior risks anger and resentment. A leader who holds people to a higher standard may face criticism and pushback. A parent who disciplines a child rather than indulging them may be seen as harsh. But to shy away from these difficult moments is to prioritize one's own comfort over what is right. Real kindness is not about making life easier for others in the moment. It is about making them stronger, wiser, and better in the long run. That often means saying what no one wants to hear, standing firm when others waver, and choosing truth over approval. It takes courage to intervene when someone is going down the wrong path. It takes courage to challenge someone's perspective rather than nodding along. It takes courage to correct, to discipline, to demand more. It takes courage to love in a way that does not always feel kind but is truly for the other person's good. And yet this is what real kindness requires. It requires strength of character, the willingness to endure discomfort, and the ability to see beyond the immediate reaction to the lasting impact. The world often equates kindness with passivity, with letting things go, with making sure no one ever feels bad. But this is not kindness, it is indifference. Real kindness does not look the other way when harm is being done. It does not allow weakness to fester or truth to be buried. It does not flatter when rebuke is needed. It steps in, it speaks up, it stands firm, even when it is difficult. That is why real kindness is so rare. It is not easy. It takes a brave heart to truly care for others, not just in words but in action, even when that action costs something. Kindness is often mistaken for love. It is praised as the highest virtue, the ultimate measure of goodness, the guiding principle for all human interactions. We are told to be kind above all else, to avoid hurting others, to smooth over conflict, to make people feel good. But kindness, if it is not grounded in something deeper, can become shallow, weak, and even harmful. Love is greater than kindness because love seeks what is truly good, even when it is difficult, even when it does not feel kind in the moment. Kindness alone is too easily swayed by feelings. It prioritizes comfort over truth, ease over growth, and momentary peace over long-term well-being. It is the kindness of the parent who never disciplines their child, fearing that correction will upset them. It is the kindness of the friend who withholds hard truths because they do not want to risk tension. It is the kindness of the leader who lowers standards so that no one feels inadequate. This kind of kindness feels good in the moment, but it does not love. It does not strengthen. It does not build. It simply avoids, delays, and soothes, often at great cost. Love, however, is not bound by the need to be agreeable. Love is willing to be harsh if harshness leads to healing. Love is willing to offend if offense brings truth. Love does not always offer comfort because love is not concerned with momentary feelings, but with lasting good. A doctor who withholds painful treatment out of kindness is not a loving doctor. A teacher who spares a student from struggle to keep them happy is not a loving teacher. A friend who never confronts is not a loving friend. Love does not hesitate to do the hard thing when the hard thing is necessary. Kindness seeks to please, but love seeks to transform. Love does not simply want others to be happy. It wants them to be whole, to be strong, to be wise. It does not merely offer warmth. It calls, challenges, and shapes. Love will wound in order to heal. It will correct in order to restore. It will say no when yes would be easier. Love is not afraid to be misunderstood, to be rejected, even to be resented if that is the price of doing what is right. The world often confuses kindness for love because kindness is easier. Kindness does not require risk. Kindness does not ask for sacrifice. Kindness does not demand courage, but love does. Love is willing to pay the price of being seen as unkind if it means truly serving another person. Love is not satisfied with mere politeness, with surface-level niceness, with temporary ease. It digs deeper, it goes further. It seeks the highest good, not just the immediate good. Those who truly love will not always appear kind, but in the end they will have done what kindness alone could never do. They will have made a difference.